Welcome back to ESCMID TV, where now we're going to meet Todd Black, who's from the MSD group, and he's going to be, as the head of executive research and development, looking at a little bit of what's going on in terms of antimicrobial resistance and
new drug discovery.
So
Merck has always been a real innovator in infectious diseases and has developed one of the first carbapenem antibiotics, one of the first broad spectrum antifungal agents, the first echinocandins, the aminoglycosides. So we've always been a leader in the field of antibiotics. And I think now, as the leader of that group, one of the great frustrations is the number of years that we've gone without really discovering a new agent. And what we're hearing at this meeting are a lot of new, really great products that are treating these drug-resistant infections. But to be honest, they are improvements and modifications onto some of the classes that our forebears were really involved in discovering. And we've really confronted this considerable challenge of finding new agents active against these multi-drug resistant gram-negative bacteria.
And it's not just new antibiotics, is it? I mean, what we're hearing about here at Congress is alternative therapies, a whole range of different ways of tackling the time-worn problems.
Absolutely, I think we're seeing a lot of very focused initiatives to try to find the new gram-negative agent, but I think we're also having to recognize that it could be we're going to have to fall back on alternative modalities, whether it's treating the host response to that infection in ways that we can mitigate some of the morbidity, mortality associated with it, or can we take a completely different narrow spectrum approach where we can really treat a narrow spectrum of organism and try to at least reduce some of the development of resistance that we see in the hospital setting. So.
In many respects, Todd, is it safe to say that we could unashamedly go back to basics in the same vein?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by basics. If you mean pre-antibiotic era, I think part of what you hear here was with the polymyxin resistance and colistin resistance that we're starting to see erode into some organism types. We almost are at a pre-antibiotic era once again, and so how we kind of manage those patients and do what we can to mitigate that. Again, I think the polymyxin resistance may be concerning because one of the new approaches that people are taking is trying to potentiate old antibiotics, but those are based on using kind of colistin-based molecules. So those resistance mechanisms may also be active against some of our new approaches. So it's a real concern of how are we going to address these multi-resistance pathogens.
Your organization, MSD, has had a strong representation here at ESCMID's Congress. You're no stranger to any of these congresses anyway. What are you hoping for yourself as the biggest walkaway when you leave Vienna?
Well, I tend to approach these meetings as much of a generalist. I try not to focus on a specific thing because you don't know where that next breakthrough or innovation is going to be. I think we have a large contingent here that focuses on a lot of the very specific product areas that we're working on. So I'll actually tend to go into more of the host response, alternative approaches to trying to address drug-resistant infections and try to see if there's something there that I think we could really bring back into the labs and really advance the approaches that we're taking in our drug discovery efforts.
Certainly been a packed program here as well in Vienna. This Congress just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, as you've seen over the years.
Absolutely.
That you've been coming as well. Is it unmissable for you now in terms of your annual calendar, sir?
Yes, indeed. Yes, there's so much that goes on here in terms of the release of many of the new clinical trials that we saw yesterday afternoon, very interesting approaches, new approaches for drug discovery and development within the European setting, all of the stewardship components and surveillance components within Europe and the rest of the world. So yeah, it's an absolutely critical meeting to understand what's going on in the area of infectious diseases in a very broad sense.
And we're delighted that you and your organization are here with us at ESCMID's Congress as well. A real pleasure to have met you. Thank you for being with us on ESCMID TV.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.